What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for the match preview stream. Good to be back with you guys, people, and it's a big game this weekend. London derby, Tottenham against West Ham. And yeah, it's been a long 2 weeks of international break, hasn't it, Sim? This stream is brought to you by SofaScore, our sponsorship partner for today. And if you want to download the app, the link is, well, the QR code is right there in the right on the screen, right there, right below me.
Scan it with your phone and download the app. Is what we use pretty much to look at all the stats, the facts, to analyse the game after. It's got some really in-depth stats there, like heat maps and
they're literally always asking as well, what is this app? What is this app? What is this app? That app is SofaScore.
So go check it out. It's a really, really great app, and will really help support the channel as well if you do go download the app. But it also benefits yourself because you'll get all the stats ahead of your mates. So go check it out.
Exactly. So Sim, international break is done. We are back. Premier League action. I believe we've got about five or six home games in our next 7 games or something.
I think in our next 9 games, 7 of them are at home.
So it's really
10,
important.
7 and 10 or something like that.
Really important we make the most out of this run now. Because we've been sitting on that Brighton game for way too long now. 2 weeks we've had to sit on that. And Ange said that he's going to, go mad at them when they got back. Let's hope he's done that. And let's hope that they come out with like a renewed sense of energy.
Yeah, I mean, watching his press conference, it sounds like he's a bit more measured, maybe, than because he said in an interview on Optus that he was going to explode, or he's been wanting to explode for like 2 weeks. But he's kind of, I think, maybe I think you're very emotional after the game, aren't you? And he clearly was after that Brighton game. You can see how it affected him in the post-match interviews. Going in hard on the players, not doing the fundamentals, all that stuff. But listening to him now in the press conference, and I think it's only natural. It's been 2 weeks. You analyse what went wrong. You take the good and the bad, and you're probably not as emotional or you're not as angry as you probably were just after the game. So I reckon he's probably taken a bit more of a measure. I don't think he's given them the right act as soon as they get back in the building, but I'm probably sure he lets them know where they went wrong.
Yeah, I hope he did give them the right act, to be honest, because a lot of them did deserve it after that game, to be honest. And he said it was going to be his form of therapy, so that might be a reason why he's so calm in the press conference today, because he's had that therapy. But look, big game. We're going to get into the predicted lineup first and foremost. Ange has been speaking in the press conference. We've got some good injury news to tell you today.
Very good injury news. So pretty much a full bill of health. The only player still not available who should be available next week is Wilson Odobert, who's obviously suffered that injury against Coventry and has been out since then. But Sonny and Richarlison back and ready to go. He said on Sonny, he's had a really good 2 weeks and he's ready to go. He's absolutely chomping in the bit to get going as well. So that's really positive. And he said on Richarlison, it was interesting what he said. He said he probably recovered from his injury 2 weeks ago, but they've been taking great care with him, being cautious with him. And he said he's now trimmed down, he's looking leaner, and he looks ready to go. And he's an infectious member of the group, and it's really, really great to have him back with the squad. So he said he's good to go. So he's going to be in the squad. He said about Lucas Bergvall, he picked up a little niggle on international duty, but he's been able to train today, so he's available as well. So pretty much a clean bill of health, which is really, really great.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time we've sat here and said that, but let's touch wood, no players get injured tomorrow, because we need this. We need this, chunky group and to go into these, 2 games a week now.
Yeah, not too chunky. Let's hope they're all not overweight, but it's all good.
Let's go into predicted lineup 4-3-3 formation as per usual. I think this is probably one of the easiest predicted lineups that we've had to do under Ange Postecoglou. And in goal will be Vicario. Let's hope he's taking some pointers from those corners, because he's getting another one on the international break. Yeah,
I don't know who West Ham's corner taker is now without Ward-Prowse, but just make sure that he's not conceding goals straight from corners. Look, we know West Ham, especially under Moyes and historically, have always been a team that have been very threatening from set pieces. They used to have the likes of Zuma and big threats. I think they scored from a set piece in their last game we played against them, if I remember rightly, at the London Stadium. I think Zuma scored from a corner in the 1-1 draw. So Vicario, over the international break, if you haven't seen it, didn't cover himself in much glory conceding straight from a corner. And we know this season, or just in general over the last few months, he hasn't had some great moments from corners. So I do think this is definitely one thing he needs to worry about. I guess we say it every game. But we also know what a great shot stopper he is. We know what an important member of the team he is. So look, you got to back him to play well, but just got to make sure that on set pieces he's on top of things.
Yeah, right back will obviously be Pedro Porro, who's going from strength to strength this season off the back of a really impressive international break.
Yeah, and brilliant last display against Serbia. I think he got man of the match in a game where Spain won 3-0, so really impressive from him. Again, such an important player for us in how we build up and his ability in the final third, one of the best fullbacks in the league and those things. So really excited to see him back on the pitch. But I don't know who they're going to play on the left, but so far this season they have been playing Mohamed Kudus, and we know what a big threat he is, and we know how much trouble Mitoma gave Porro last game. So it's going to be very, very difficult for him to make sure that Kudus isn't getting too much joy on that side.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving into the right centre-back is Cuti Romero. Ange did say at his press conference, and no surprises there, that he was the last to arrive back from international break, which always going to be the case with him coming from South America. His game was at 1 a.m, Wednesday morning English time. So I have no doubt that he'll be fit and ready for the game, though.
Yeah, he trained today. He was saw the video of him training.
Trained yesterday as well.
Sorry, yesterday. So he should be all right for this game, albeit, as you say, it's a quick turnaround. We got the early kickoff on Saturday, so obviously Andrew will have to make a decision on that. But he obviously spoke about Cuti in his press conference, saying, his season's kind of gone how Tottenham's season's gone in a way. He's played well for the most part, but there's moments where he hasn't been happy with it. He's been frustrated with himself with some of the moments this season where he's given away goals or lapsing in concentration, and he knows he wants to do better. But he says what an important player he is for us, an important member of the group. He's had some big tussles in the past with Antonio, hasn't he? Some he's done well at, some he hasn't done well at. So Antonio, obviously going to be playing up front for West Ham this game. Such a physical presence, and I think it's going to be a big factor on Romero to make sure he's just cutting that supply, getting ahead of Antonio, not allowing him to hold up the ball. And if he can do that, that cuts out a lot of West Ham's ability to get out the pitch. So it's a very important role he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really big physical battle up this weekend. Romero and Antonio, as it always is. And we all know that Antonio loves a goal against Tottenham as well. Left centre-back, the ever-reliable Mickey van der Ven. A few mixed reviews, actually, coming from his international break out in with the Netherlands. He played the first game left-back, the second game centre-back in the absence of suspended Virgil van Dijk. But I have no doubt that he'll be back at it once again for Tottenham this weekend.
Yeah, and I don't know if he plays a different role for Netherlands as it does for Spurs, because obviously we play such a specific kind of system. We rely on him to just basically sweep up around the back. And I think for Netherlands, I don't know if they're as adventurous potentially in the way they play. So is he doing a lot more defending, a bit deeper, rather at Spurs? He's defending a lot higher a lot of the time. I think he's going to have a big job because one of their biggest transitional threats is Jared Bowen down that left-hand side. And Van der Ven making sure that if they're going to play balls over the top or in behind, he's getting ahead of Bowen, because if you allow Bowen opportunities on his left foot with space in behind, we know what a big threat he is. We know how good he is. So Van der Ven's got a big job. I do worry about him a bit when it comes up against going toe-to-toe with Antonio, in terms of Antonio backing into him and being more physical. I back Romero more in those situations than Van der Ven. So I'm hoping Van der Ven can deal with that, but I think his main job is just to make sure that West Ham aren't exploiting the space that we are inevitably going to leave.
And then to make up that back four at left back, there are actually a lot of people calling for Jed Spence to start left back this game, but I do think he's going to persist with Destiny Udogie. He came on both games for Italy, grabbing an assist as well. So quite a successful international break for him. Very hard for him to displace someone like DiMarco in that Italian side. But does it worry you at all that every single man in that back line played kind of significant minutes out in their international break?
Doesn't worry me, because when you have good players, that's what's going to happen. You have to get used to that. And you look at the top players, top players are playing for the top teams. They're going to play significant minutes. And if you can't handle that, then that's what you should be worried about. And I think they should be used to it by now, or they should be getting used to it. I know they're young players, a lot of them, and players like Porro, Van der Ven, even Udogie, you could probably say they're probably getting used to playing regularly for their national team now, when maybe they haven't before. But I don't think that worries me. I think that's just a consequence of having good players. But Udogie, he did have a good international break. I think we're doing well, because obviously was coming back from injury for that Brighton game. We saw how he suffered in that second half. But I think the minutes he got for Italy would have helped him get back to full match fitness, because I really felt before the Brighton game he was getting back to his best, and I really felt I was really encouraged by what I was seeing. Unfortunately, the Brighton game didn't go his way, but hopefully those minutes for Italy will help him get back up to speed.
Yeah. Moving on to the midfield, in the number 6 position, we are going to side with Rodrigo Bentancur, who is on fairly good form. Not the greatest showing, or not a good showing at all, to be honest, out of the Amex a couple of weeks ago at Brighton, but you could probably say 11 players on that pitch in the same category. So I think right now Bentancur is the one with the shirt. Bissouma's the one that's got to earn it off him, and I think right now Bissouma is probably going to be more favoured for the European competition. So I think Bentancur starts.
I think so as well, and he is a player who's had a 2-week break because he's suspended for Uruguay at the moment, so he should be well rested. He should be absolutely fresh going into this game. And yes, West Ham have a very combative midfield three with Paquetá and Alvarez and Rodriguez, so Bentancur does have to be very disciplined, but if he can just make sure he gets back to the form he was showing at United and Brentford, hopefully he can dominate in that central area.
Moving in to the attacking players in the midfield, we're going to go for Dejan Kulusevski, who's obviously our best player of the season so far. He's been absolutely brilliant. Another really successful international break for him, where he was star of the show for pretty much both games for Sweden with the captain's armband on. And I think for his country, he really is showing that leadership ability. And he's the star performer in that team at the moment.
Yeah, it's really, really great in my opinion. Taking more responsibility for your national team, I think will give him more sense of authority in this Spurs team as well. We've seen this season how he's taken his game onto a new level. I was listening to Ange, I think he was doing an interview for Spurs, talking to Ben Haynes, and they were talking about Kulusevski, and he was saying how this season, Kulusevski moving into a new role, he's taken his game to a new level. He's really brought a new dimension to the team, and I think that's nothing that we haven't seen on the pitch, and it's nothing new to us. But it's good to hear Ange acknowledge that and just hear him talk about how good Decky's been this season, and he's going to have such an important role to play in this one as well. We saw West Ham last season came to the Tottenham Stadium. I know they're a new team this season, but they came to the Tottenham Stadium, and yes, we dominated, but maybe we lacked that cutting edge and we lacked that ability in the final third. And maybe if we had, a Decky in the middle next to Maddison. I think Maddison was injured that game anyway, but if we had those two players in the middle with that real offensive quality like we do today, tomorrow, maybe it could have made a difference. So I think Kulusevski's got a very important role to play.
Yeah, as he does every game. And alongside him in the middle of the park will be James Maddison, who they kind of like... He plays a kind of different role this season, doesn't he, now Kulusevski's in the team? He does drop a bit deeper and try and knit that play together. He's always trying to be like quite physical as well, with constant amount of duels that he's always trying to contend with. So Maddison as well, like you say, kind of trying to combat this physical West Ham midfield will be very important too. Definitely
another player. Actually, our whole not Kulusevski, but Bentancur and Maddison also didn't go away in international break, so he's also had 2 weeks to kind of it's not put his feet up, because obviously I'm sure he's been in training, but he's going to be fresher. He hasn't had those grueling international games. He hasn't gone away. He's been with the group, so really excited to see him back on the pitch. I think he's been brilliant. I think in the last few games, I think, to be honest, the whole season, it's gone under the radar how good he's been for most of it. I think he's much better than he was, especially back end of last season. I think he's getting back to his best, and I think this game is going to be another really important game for him.
Yeah, maybe a bit of extra motivation. I mean, maybe he won't see it like this because he's going to. I mean, I don't doubt that Maddison doesn't try 100% every game, but maybe there is that bit of extra motivation now that England do have a new manager after falling out of favour under Southgate.
Yeah, I think, in a way, how when any team gets a new manager, it's like a clean slate, isn't it? And everyone kind of puts in their all. That's why sometimes you get a new manager bounce. And maybe with England, the English players, they'll see it that way as well, especially players who maybe aren't currently in the setup.
So Bentancur, Decky and Maddison in the middle three. On the right-hand side is going to be the man on fire, 7 in his last 7 games, and that is Brennan Johnson. Let's hope he can make it 8-8 this weekend.
Yeah, and who would bet against it, to be honest, because he's in flying form. He just seems to be playing with a swagger. He seems such in confident mood. Obviously got a goal for Wales as well, but he didn't play the second game because first of all apparently got a knock, but he's also suspended, but seems to have got through it fine. He seems to be absolutely fine for this one, so really excited for him to play again, and want to see if he can make it A&A. Like, every game is just another opportunity to notch another goal up, and that makes it really exciting. So Why not? Why can't he make it 8-8? Is he the form player in the league at the moment?
I don't know about in the league, but he's definitely. I mean, I don't even think he's the form player in this Spurs side. I think Kulusevski's still probably in better form than him. But look, don't get me wrong. He's playing unbelievably well at the moment, and I couldn't be happier with what he's producing on that football pitch. But it's mad to think about, isn't it, when he scored 6 in his last 6 Spurs games. Harry Kane did that and broke a record in doing that. What was set 5 years ago, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. It's mad to think that if Brendan scores this weekend, he breaks Kane's record of scoring in consecutive games.
Wow, maybe Vardy should watch out.
Was that 11?
I think it was.
That was Premier League game, so
was
wasn't
11.
It?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was 11, wasn't it?
And
maybe
it was just
12.
Premier League.
Yeah, just Premier League. So Premier League's only 3.
He's got a long way to go to that.
But why not? Well, look, it's got to start somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah. Up front will be big Dom Solanke. I want to see him getting some more goal-scoring positions in this game. I want to see him put the ball in the back of the net. But again, I couldn't be happier with what Solanke's showing. I think with him dropping deep, his physicality, his pressing, I think he's doing everything to a really high standard, apart from maybe showing that finishing ability that we saw at Bournemouth. So I want to see him do that this weekend.
Yeah, of course. Obviously up against 2 very physical centre-backs in Todibo, probably because he just came in against Ipswich, and Max Kilman, who are clearly very physical centre-backs. Obviously, Solanke will back himself because he's such physical presence himself, but he'll probably be a bit frustrated because if this game was a few weeks ago, he's probably up against Mavropanos and not Todibo. But now Todibo's back in the team, it's going to be that much more difficult for him. But I think the way he's settled his way into the team has been brilliant. I thought against Brighton he was fantastic. And look, he's got his work cut out, but I'm sure he can get the best of them.
Yeah, and to make up that final 11 on the left-hand side, it's the return of the captain of the talisman, Son Heung-min, and it's such a breath of fresh air to see him back in the lineup. Timo Werner has played the last couple of games, and you just get the feeling like if Son was playing in those games, like all those chances that the crosses that, in the first minute against Brighton, that cross that was just literally a simple ball over to Brennan Johnson. Brennan would have been able to slot that home against Manchester United. If he gets to those positions that Werner was getting in, we probably would have had a hat-trick that day. So it's so great to see Sonny back.
Yeah, and it was interesting, again, hearing Ange talk about it, because he said Son, we've missed him, and he said against Brighton we missed him, which is, I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but maybe it was a bit of a dig of Timo Werner saying we missed Sonny against Brighton in that game, because obviously we know Werner had a few opportunities in that one. But yeah, so great to have him back. Probably going to be up against Wan-Bissaka, who, on his day can be a very good one-on-one defender. So he's going to have his work out. It's not going to be an easy game for him, but I remember saying the same thing last year when we played Man United at home and Wan-Bissaka was playing, and I thought Sonny would struggle, and actually he gave him a real tough time and actually got the better of Wan-Bissaka that game. So hopefully he can be in that kind of form. But yeah, it's just so great to have him back, and hopefully it can up the quality in that final third.
Yeah, and 2-3 weeks rest behind him, because we were led to believe that he was touch and go for that Brighton game, didn't get called up for Korea, so hopefully it would have been a really good 2-3 weeks worth of rest for Sonny, and he'll be back fit and firing.
And said it was a really good 2 weeks for him, so let's hope that's really done him the world of good. And it's really great that Korea, even though he might have been fit for some games or decided not to play him and protect him, because hopefully that means we've got a fresher Sonny going into the next set of games.
And even better, Korea got the results as well, so that means that they might follow suit in future international breaks. So let's run through that predicted lineup with you guys one more time. It's Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Destiny Udogie left back, Kuti Romero and Mickey van der Ven in the back two, Bentancur, Kulusevski and Maddison that make up the midfield three. Brennan Johnson, Son Heung-min and big Dom Solanke in the front three. And you got to say, with Spurs not taking their chances, I know Sonny and Johnson and Solanke were part of that front three for the most part. But with a fresh Sonny, with a Solanke who's got a few goals behind him now, and 4 of that Brennan Johnson's in, it's a bit of a mouth-watering front three.
Definitely, and I'm excited about the prospect. I'm excited to see how they combine against West Ham. And look, I'm just chomping at a bit to get Spurs back. I know we've been sitting on that Brighton result, but I think we're going to see reaction tomorrow.
I love it, because it's like the same thing every time Spurs play. Like, we're just so gassed every time Spurs come around, and then it comes half an hour in the game, or like comes to the second half, we're like, oh God. Nah, but we're winning today. We're winning this weekend, 100%. What is your score prediction?
I've gone 4-1.
Come on!
Come on, big win. This is just based off how I've seen West Ham play against the bigger teams. I know they usually up their game against Spurs, but if they do play like they have been playing against the bigger sides, giving them too much control of the game, giving them a bit of impetus, I can just see us overwhelming them a bit. So obviously I do see them getting goal. I don't think get a clean sheet, but I think if we can press like we have been, create the chances that we have been, and going for a big win at home. 4-1.
It's time to hammer those hammers, isn't it, this
Burst
weekend?
those bubbles.
Ange hasn't won a London derby yet against, well, he's beaten Palace, but he hasn't beaten West Ham, Chelsea or Arsenal. And it's time to put that record to bed this weekend and finally get over the line and win these games. We definitely should have got points out of, more points out of West Ham than we did last season. I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. I'm building up. Let me land, bro. You've thrown me off track now, but we're going to win, and we're going to win 2-1. I think it's going to be a tight game. West Ham, you know what they're going to bring. They're going to bring grit. They're going to bring hard work on the back of a 4-1 victory as well, just before international break. Maybe that's a sign of their fortune starting to change this season with a new manager and many new players in the new squad. So I think it'll be a very closely fought game, but I think Spurs' quality will shine through with that front line that I was talking about. So yeah, I'm going to go for 2-1 to Spurs. That is our predicted lineup. I want to know your score predictions in the comments section as well. Big up to all of you that are in the chat right now. We're going to get into our match preview now. It is Tottenham against West Ham, obviously. It is a London derby. Like Sim said, it's time to burst those bubbles. It's time to hammer those hammers, and we have to get a win in this game, people. It's like a game, though, like you never know what's going to throw up Tottenham West Ham. Whether in West Ham are in terrible form, Tottenham are in terrible form. It's literally just, you can't, I really believe this in Tottenham West Ham, you can't take form into account. It's not like Arsenal when Spurs play Arsenal. When Spurs play West Ham, literally, it's the old cliche, all form just goes out the window.
Yeah, I mean, happens all the time. We remember when we were, challenging Chelsea for the title, West Ham were like battling relegation. We played them in the London Stadium, end up losing 1-0. Like, it happens so often against this West Ham team where you come into it so excited. You come into it like, you come into it thinking, you're definitely going to win, and they turn up. And also, it's not just that, just this game specifically, they're a new team with a new manager. They've been very inconsistent this season, so you don't quite know what West Ham are going to show up in this game. And because they've been inconsistent, because they've got a new approach, they might click, they might not click. It's difficult to know where they're going to turn up. So West Ham's always a difficult game. They're always up for it, but the way we're playing this season, for me, you just got to back ourselves. And I feel like if we play our game, we should have too much for them.
Yeah, it's kind of those games though, like whenever you're really confident going to a Spurs West Ham game, it always throws it up in your face. But then when you go into it a bit apprehensive, that's when we actually get the wins and start getting some really good performances and results against them. But both teams, not in terms of results, not going into on the best of forms, are we? Only 2 points separates the two sides, which is shocking, really, because West Ham's form coming into it, everyone's been saying, oh, they're not clicking this, they're not doing too well under Lopetegui. But it's literally only 2 points. So if they win, they do go above us if you bring up the form.
Yeah, but it's only 8 games. I never really look at the table after 8 games or 7 games. But look, the form is on our side. You can see they have 4 wins and a loss, so it's not that bad. They've only got 1 win in their last.
Sammy, bring up the form.
They've only got 1 win in their last 5. So I mean, in all competitions anyway, a bit of a difference. You can see we're scoring a lot more goals than them, conceding a lot more goals. Their away form, 1 win in 5. Our home form, 3 wins in 5. Although there's been 2 losses. So I would say I think we're playing better, in my opinion, from what I've seen from both teams. Yes, the results maybe are closer than they should be given the performances. But I do think we're in better form. West Ham obviously got a big win against Ipswich. Fair play to them. It was an impressive win. They battered them 4-1. Albeit, I think a lot of their goals came in a bit quick spell where they just absolutely blitzed Ipswich. Other than that, they have flattered to deceive. They did get a good win away at Palace, but Palace are a team who are yet to win a game this season. Other than that, I saw them against Chelsea, really struggled in that game. They got absolutely a bit destroyed, to be honest, by Chelsea in that one, especially in the transition. When they played at home to Man City, They obviously lost quite comfortably in that one as well. I thought they weren't really in the game there. When they lost to Villa at home in the first game of the season, they were probably in that game, but probably deserved to lose in the end, because in that first half, they could have been 2 or 3 down, and they were lucky only to be 1-0 down. Then they got back in the game with a dodgy penalty. So, again, they've been guilty of just being a bit too passive, I feel, in some of these games, and allowing the opposition a bit, especially when they play better teams, a bit too much control. But have they learnt from those mistakes? Are they, learning how Lopetegui wants to play? That's the fear, that's the worry when you come into these games where, what you've seen is not necessarily what you're going to get in this game.
Yeah, exactly. I'd kind of agree with that. I feel like the form of the both sides have been a bit kind of deceptive. I mean, Tottenham's form has been deceptive because we haven't got the results that we've deserved in the most part of our season. I would say the only game we've actually deserved to lose this season is the Brighton game. Out of that, I don't think we've deserved to lose any of the other games that we've lost. West Ham, on the other hand, I think they have deserved to probably lose the majority of games that they have lost this season.
Yeah, and I think that's a big difference. So we know West Ham, before the season, we were both absolutely waxing lyrical about their business that they've done. And you look at their team, they do have a very good team. You can't deny that. There's got a lot of players. There's players probably we would take in our team that they have, the likes of Bowen, Kudus, Paquetá, Todibo, centre-back, some really, really top players, to be honest. Top 6 players, you could argue, a lot of these players they have. So once it does start to click for them, they're going to be a very dangerous team, and they're going to be very difficult to play against. The problem for them at the moment is hasn't started to click yet under Lopetegui. They haven't really got going, but their last game was a 4-1 win at home. So is there evidence or signs of them starting to click, starting to get to grips with Lopetegui? Maybe there is. So that's the worry if you're Ange or if you're a Spurs fan going into this game, that we're playing them just at the time they're starting to click. But we'll have to wait and see, because Ipswich are Ipswich. They're not Chelsea or Villa or City, who are the top teams, and hopefully, you'd argue we're closer to them than we are to Ipswich. So we'll have to wait and see how they fare.
Yeah, I mean, look, to be fair, no disrespect to Ipswich, they've been fairly impressive for what they are this season. You expect West Ham to beat Ipswich at home, but they did it in a very convincing manner, let's be real. If you look at the head-to-head of Tottenham West Ham, it just shows you how up and down this fixture is. Only 2 wins in our last 5 games, 2 draws and 1 defeat. So actually, only 1 defeat in our last 5 games. Not too bad, is it?
Yeah. Obviously, the defeat
and
last
the defeat
year,
we should have won.
Yeah, the defeat last year, really disappointing game. We were 1-0 up, cruising at half-time, and, should have put the game to bed. And then second half, we capitulated, 2 bad mistakes, and never really got back in the game. And it was just one of those games where it was in that run just after the Chelsea game when we had a string of injuries. I think we were probably playing Davis as centre-back. We probably had no Maddison, Lo Celso up front. A very mix and match team. And
Brennan on the left, Kulu on the right.
Yeah, just a different dynamic to what we have now. So hopefully, if we have the same level of dominance this season as we did last season, it could be a different game. However, they're a different team as well. Different manager, better players. It's hard to really take too many lessons from last season, because it could be very different. Albeit, I think most of their players are probably going to be the same. It's just going to be really Todibo and Kilman.
Well, they're going to have only one of their back 4 will be remaining.
Wan-Bissaka's in there.
Because Wan-Bissaka, Zuma and Agard played last year. So they're going to have a brand new centre-back pairing, a new right-back. Souček and Ward-Prowse probably won't be starting. So it is a fairly new team.
Souček's played a lot, but Ward-Prowse obviously left.
Yeah.
Then Bowen, Kudus, Antonio, they didn't play last year, I'm guessing.
Antonio didn't play. It was Kudus up top.
Kudus up top. I'm probably going to assume it's Antonio this time. And albeit there's been a bit of disagreement with the Kudus and the manager so far this season, it seems, where Kudus has been out on the left and he hasn't been happy there, and apparently they had a big argument in one of the games at half-time where he got taken off. But
then he responded by scoring a goal.
He did. But is he totally happy on the left-hand side? Is there going to be a change of position? If I was the manager, I would put Kudus up front and put Somerville on the left. That's what I would do. I think that's probably a better option. But, at the moment he's gone against that. And Antonio last game got 3 assists and a goal, didn't he? So whether he's going to change it up, I don't know. In this game, could you argue Kudus on the left might be a really benefit to them, because you know how we leave spaces, especially in wide areas. You know, Kudus running at Porro is a proposition where, as much as Porro's improved defensively, you know, Kudus in a one-on-one with Porro, do I back Porro to win that challenge every time? Probably not. Do I back Kudus to get some joy at least in that situation? You know, we saw how Matoma got joy, so I wouldn't, you know, I think Kudus, you could argue at the moment, is one of the best dribblers in the league. So he's definitely a big danger man for me in this one. In fact, I'm probably more worried about Kudus than I am about Bowen in a weird way, because with Van der Ven and Udogie on that side, the physical and pacey attributes they have, even if Bowen is running in behind, I'd back Van der Ven and Udogie to deal with that more than I would back Porro to deal with Kudus in a way. So that's definitely an area I'm a bit worried about.
Yeah, it's true. And look, the quality that they do have is a testament to the scouting network at West Ham and how they've got these players through the door. I mean, to get Mohamed Kudus, who was sought after loads of top clubs around Europe, we were saying, do you remember it was that international tournament we were in the World Cup, we were watching him play, we were like, let's get this guy at Spurs, he's brilliant. He had a stunning World Cup that year and he ended up going to West Ham. Lucas Paquetá as well, you know, he's been touted around for big clubs as well. So they've got some real top quality in that team now, and it just gives a testament to say how strong this league actually is. You look at the top 10, top 11 clubs in this league, I mean, there's not really a bad team there, is there?
No, and I think, look, there's so much money in the Premier League. Everyone has got analysts, and everyone's looking at data, and everyone has got recruitment teams, and like, because there's, you know, billions and billions of pounds up for grabs here. So it's no surprise to me that the level of competition has really increased. And now you've got teams like West Ham with the level of players that they got. That's why the league is so competitive. Albeit Man City do usually end up winning, but I do think in terms of the general competitiveness, especially the top half teams, it's why teams are just taking points off each other constantly, because everyone's got good players, everyone's got good managers as well. You look at all the managers up and down the league, there's very few managers who you look at and you think, wow, they're not good, or they're not, you know, they haven't got good records and stuff like that. They've all now got top managers in charge and looking to give them time as well. So, yeah, I think West Ham are clearly evidence of that.
We were speaking to Nicky, weren't we, yesterday, talking about combined 11s and match previews. There's a few things that he was saying, and he was saying that, you know, the fullbacks for West Ham play very high up the pitch. They're playing a higher line than they did last season. Do you feel that they will make maybe adjustments to combat what we're going to throw at them this weekend, or will they stick to their guns?
Hard to say. I know Lopetegui is quite a adaptable manager, so he's more of a guy who might adapt to the situation to try and get the result rather than stick to his principles like Ange does. I know if they play their fullbacks high, I think that could spell a bit of problems for them because of how we play our wingers, very high, very wide, like touchline wingers, and then we've got the inverted fullback. So if we're playing through the centre and they're playing their fullbacks high, there's just going to be too much space for Son and Johnson, who are very good transitional threats to run into. The problem we got there is they're players who prefer the ball in behind rather than ball to feet. So if they do drop back a bit, then I see us struggling a bit more, you know, getting in behind them when they're behind us. If they're stepping up a bit, I think we'll back ourselves to find that space in behind them, especially with Decky, who we can just put the ball into and he can break the press. Same with Maddison as well. And even Bentancur, when he's on his game, can do that. Then you've got Solanke. It's like the players in the middle, at the moment, they're so strong and so good at holding the ball. It's difficult for opposition teams to combat that. When we go out wide, obviously Johnson and Son, very much transitional players, very much players who like the ball, much more running and spacing in behind. So it's going to be interesting to see if Lopetegui changes that. I was looking at some of their previous games against. Interestingly, when they played Chelsea, they moved to a back three, but it didn't work at all. They got absolutely battered, and you know they were destroyed really by Chelsea on the transition. So I don't think he's going to go with that experiment again. But I think all I'm saying is that's evidence of Lopetegui trying new things against opposition to try and get the result. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's got maybe a tactical a surprise up his sleeve for this one.
Interesting. They played a back three of Kilman, Alvarez, and Mavropanos. Maybe that's why it didn't work.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they do have Todibo now, and I rate Todibo so highly. We were speaking about him before. I think we signed Van der Ven, and we were saying how he's probably our number one target that we should be going for.
Yeah, I think he would have been a brilliant option for us. Can cover the right and left centre back as well. So strong, but also brilliant on the ball. Very good with his passing, and that's one thing Solanke's going to make sure he's on top of, because he's a really good player on the ball. He's got a very good passing range. So we know Solanke's a great presser, and he's got to just make sure that Todibo's not getting too much time on the ball, because if he does, with Bowen running in behind, getting the ball to Kudus, even direct to Antonio, who can hold the ball up, all of a sudden you can see West Ham getting a bit more joy. So we just got to make sure that Solanke's doing his job up front, and hopefully just limiting Todibo as much as possible.
And we need to clear up the combined 11 yesterday, man. That was a bit of a disgrace what we let happen on that stream yesterday. It really was. Like, first of all, how the hell are we letting Emerson Palmieri get ahead of Destiny Udogie, first of all? That's a disgrace in itself. And second of all, Mickey gaslighted us yesterday. He absolutely gaslighted us yesterday, coming on and saying Kudus has scored 18 goals and we didn't fact check him. 18 goals. He scored like 8 goals last season.
He got 8 goals and 6 assists. And he's trying to say that he was better than Son, who got 17 goals and 10 assists. Come on, Nicky. You're better than that. And you're lucky we didn't fact check you live on the stream, because that is poor form. Son is so clear of Kudus. I know Kudus is a great player, but Son is just different class. And I think he's done it year in, year out. He's such a superior finisher in the final third as well. And as much as Kudus is brilliant, and maybe in a few years' time, we might be saying he's a better player, but right now, Sonny's clear. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's no question about it. Sonny is one of the legends of the Premier League. That's how good he's been. He's been one of the best left wingers in the Premier League for the past 9 years since being at this football club. So to say Kudus can't even lace his boots. That's where Kudus is right now. And Kudus hasn't even had a good start to the season either. So
1 goal, I think, in his first 7 games.
1 goal in his first 7 games, and then they're trying to say he's better than Sonny.
He's beefing the manager. Apparently, he had to be held back. Apparently, they had to be restrained from going at Lopetegui at half time against Brentford.
Ridiculous. Absolutely
Son would never.
Ridiculous.
Son would never.
Never. He's got too much respect for that. For any manager. Maybe if you're not Jurgen Klinsmann. But look, like, obviously, just desperate to get back to winning ways this weekend. Does it mean that little bit more because it's against West Ham, or do you not really care about West Ham too much?
No, I don't think it means more because it's against West Ham for me in this specific game. Maybe in a different scenario it might, but in this game, we need to get back to winning ways. We just got to treat it like another game. I don't see this game as like an Arsenal or even a Chelsea where it's a big London derby in terms of like where pride's at stake. Like, yes, if we lose, it will be embarrassing, but it will be more embarrassing just because it's against West Ham, not because it's a derby, if you know what I mean. So, yes, I want to win. I want to win just like I win in any other game, but I don't come away from this. Like, if we beat Arsenal, it's just a different case. It can make my week, or it can make me very, very happy for a lot longer. But West Ham, it's just a win and then you get over it kind of thing. I don't see it as like a game which has much special meaning to me.
I agree. I mean, the only reason why it means a little bit more is because it means so much to them.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, because they hate you so much. So if you beat them, they are literally, just remember how depressed we were after losing that North London derby. That's how they're going to feel after losing the weekend. That's why it just means a little bit more, just to shut them up. But in terms of like the way I actually feel about this fixture, yeah, it's just like any other fixture to me, to be honest. I mean, I don't really care. It's just important to get back to winning ways. That's all it is.
The only reason I really don't want to lose is just because I know if we lose, we're going to get it. We're going to get it from West Ham fans. Absolutely, we always do. So I kind of just want the team to do the job for me. So we're not absolutely getting a viral moments on social media, but
happens every year. Happens every year.
Anyway. But I think, for me, I think it's so important that we just have a reaction to that Brighton game. It's interesting if we win, all of a sudden the narrative goes from sloppy start to the season or poor start to all of a sudden it's 6 wins in 7 all of a sudden, then you change the narrative. If we lose, it's like if all of a sudden it's haven't learned the lessons from Brighton, and all of a sudden you're looking at the league table, we might be bottom half, and the narrative changes in another way. And obviously at this point of the season, because there's so few games that have gone, the league is so tight. A win, I think we could be 6th. A loss, you could be as low as like 14th or something. So there's all different narratives you can spin with these results. So I think it's just so important we get the job done. More importantly, we just have a consistent performance and we show we're back on track. Don't think the game is won just because you tune it up and allow the opposition back into the game. Make sure we're doing the fundamentals. And I think we'll be all right. Not to say that West Ham don't have good players, because they do, and they're going to be a threat. But I think the way we play our football and the way West Ham have approached these big games so far this season, I just think if we play the way that we've been playing this season, West Ham will find it hard to deal with us.
Yeah, they should do. And it's just so important for me that we have to show a reaction. We have to show a reaction, because that second half against Brighton was nothing short of disgrace. That's the last we've seen of this team. So it's so important that, particularly those 4 players who I felt that really let us down on the weekend, which was Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero and Bentancur. I really want to see them play at the top of their game and show what it means to play for Tottenham Hotspur, because I didn't see that in the second half against Brighton. They came out, they were lackadaisical, they were complacent. They need to come out and show it for 90 minutes and really stamp their authority in this game. And if they do that, I have no question that we're going to win this game.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think it was just them. I think it was the whole team, to be honest. But I think obviously they're the ones in the back line, so they're going to get a lot of the culpability. But I think the whole team went missing in that second half, and that's what we got to get right. And I hope Ange has analysed what went wrong against Brighton and tried to find solutions. Because as much as we can blame the players, I do think there's a problem with how we have a drop off in second half. And I don't think it's just because we think the game is won or we get complacent. I think there is a drop off because of how intense we are, and we're always trying to be intense at every moment of the game, and which we try to be the most intense team in the league essentially, and that's a good thing because it gets us in situations where we should be 2-3 up every game essentially, and we dominate. But also means there are times in the second half where we do have a clear drop off and we do have a lack of intensity, and maybe that physicality as well leads to mental drop-offs and leads to lack of concentration, because when you're so physically intense, that can lead to the mental side as well, because that takes a lot of effort. So I think Ange has to look at himself as much as he absolutely has to. The players have to take responsibility. Ange as well has to analyse why that keeps happening, and is there something you can do differently to try and fix that problem, because that is a problem at the moment. And maybe you could argue, yes, we drop off for 10, 15 minutes, but as long as we're in a position every game where we're 2-3 up, that's fine. Because if we can dominate and be 2-3 up, and then manage those times in the game when we do have a drop off, then that's a good situation rather than not having those moments when we could be 2-3 up. But if he could find a solution to that drop in intensity in the second half, I mean, that would be perfect.
It would be perfect, wouldn't it? And that will take some flexibility from Ange Postecoglou that a lot of people say he doesn't have. Do you think that narrative is fair?
I don't think it's fair. I do think he's been He's not flexible in his principles, which is absolutely right. We want to be an intense team. We want to be a high-pressing team. We want to dominate teams. We want to be on the front foot. We always want to look for more goals. Those are his principles. Now, the way he goes about that, the tactical setup, how we press, the pressing structure, all those different things, those are things I do think he's adjusted at times. The positioning of players, where he's paid players, bringing Decky into the middle, all these different things. He even said it. I was listening to another interview from him today. He was saying how, talking about the Decky in the middle, but he was saying that's one aspect where we've found a different dimension, but he's saying we're still exploring other formations. He was saying, and that's something we want to bring to this team. We want to be a fluid team that can change up and change formations. And I do think he's shown that at Tottenham, to be honest, since he's been here, an ability to try different things. And, put Decky up front, put Skip at left back. He's trying little creative solutions. I do think he's done that. He's not been completely stubborn. I do think he's a manager, though, who doesn't change things unless it's clearly broken. So just because something doesn't work one week, he doesn't just immediately change it. He wants to give it a few games to see if it's a real problem or is just something that happened one week. And I think fans sometimes look at that and get frustrated and saying, "Oh, it didn't work well. Why are you doing the same thing? It's not going to work." I think he likes things to play out first before he completely changes things. But I do think once he knows it's not working, he will change it, and I think he's shown that.
Yeah, and I think as well with the fullbacks this season, he's seen, not getting Sonny in those right positions. I think it's really important to get Sonny in those positions this weekend.
And I think even we've seen recently with Brennan, I think beginning of the season, I don't know whether it's a Brennan thing or an Ange thing. Maybe it's Brennan learning the role a bit better. But I think at the beginning of the season, Brennan was very much just out on the right-hand side, very wide all the time, and hugging that touchline. And you can see the goals he's been scoring, a lot of them being in the box, and pretty much all of them being in the box. And he's getting a bit more central. I was watching the interview, and he's saying that, he's talking about Brennan, saying that, at the beginning of the season, he was having his struggles, but now, how we want our wingers to be. Yes, we want them wide, but also when they have those opportunities to come a bit inside and be an inside forward, we want them to do that as well. We want them to get in goal scoring positions. And that is something maybe the wingers in our system haven't quite went all up until recently, haven't got to grips with, because they've been so far and wide for so much of the game. Sometimes they struggle to get in those positions where they're getting in the box. But you can clearly see with Brennan, I think you saw with Son in the Brentford game as well before he got injured, he was doing more of that as well. So maybe we're seeing evidence of a bit more of the wingers learning that role a bit more and getting into more goal-scoring positions. And I think it will just benefit both of those players, because I think Brennan clearly showing he's got good finishing ability, so he'll thrive in those positions, and we definitely know Son will. So the more they get in those positions, as much as they can, is only going to benefit them as much as the team.
Well, it's time to teach those South London nomads, those East London boys a lesson this weekend. We need to get them to crawl back to East London with their tails between their legs. It's going to be I'll say it's going to be an intense atmosphere, but I just hate 12:30 kickoffs.
Yeah.
12:30 kickoffs are always the worst, aren't they?
Everyone's half asleep.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone's still waking up. So I never think 12:30 leads to a great atmosphere as well. People haven't had time to get their drinks in mostly. Some people do, but most people don't at that point. So yeah, I don't think I don't envisage the atmosphere being unbelievable unless we, take an early lead and maybe get the crowd up early. But let's hope the team can wake us up a bit early doors. And we know how we like to start fast. We've done that in the past few games. Early goal against Man United. I think we've got quite a few early goals this season so far. So I think Brentford we got even though we conceded early, I think we scored in the first 10 minutes. Yeah. Brighton, fairly fast start in that one as well. So we need to do the same and just make sure that once we get that advantage, we don't allow the game to drift like we did against Brighton. Yeah,
not winning is not an option this weekend. We have to get those 3 points and kickstart the season now. Well, I say kickstart the season, but we have won 6 of our last 7 games. So or 5 of our last 6, whatever it is. So we have to get back on track after the Brighton game is what I'm trying to say. And West Ham is the perfect opportunity to do it. 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Sim is going to be in the stadium. You'll probably hear him from your TV screens, how loud he's going to be singing. And obviously all the content that is going to be coming out from the stadium will all be coming from Sim. I will be in the studio with you with Amir this weekend. So no Barnaby. It is me and Amir on the watch along. So come and tune in. Come and have your say after the game. I'm going for 2-1 to Spurs in a tightly contested encounter. Sim is going for a 4-1 drubbing of the Hammers. He is literally hammering the Hammers this weekend. But that is it from us today. That is your match review, or match preview, should I say. Shall we finish off a game on bingo? I can see all the bingo addicts in the...
Of course they are. They're itching.
All the bingo addicts are in the...
They are itching for a game of bingo.
I need to reconnect it. One game of bingo and then we'll finish off. All right, here we go.
Yogi Bear is Barnaby doing the watch on. He is not spending on me.
Did you not listen to what I just said?
Come on.
All right, here we go. There it is. Tottenham bingo to set you up for a really good weekend. And there's actually some really nice games of football this weekend as well. Chelsea, Liverpool. Really hard to call some of the games this weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to a weekend of football. As always, I'm just so happy to have Premier League back. I can't be bothered for international break anymore. But only a few weeks before.
Yeah, exactly.
A few weeks before the next one.
So everyone join. That is the QR code if you want to join the game of bingo. Just me and Sim in at the moment. We're going to put the link in the live chat. Oh, there it is. So come and join, people. Sammy is in. Sean Slater is in.
Oh, God.
Tottenham bingo, yeah. Yeah, they brought it back.
It's back. Tottenham Bingo is back on the website, people. Interesting to hear Ange talk about Richarlison, mentioning he's trimmed down and he's now lean and good to go. So I wonder if he was having a bit of problem with his weight, because he said he'd recovered from his injury two weeks ago. So I wonder if there was an issue with that, and maybe Ange was wanting him to lose that weight before he was getting back into the team.
Yeah, it's hard to know really what he actually means by that, but
I mean, it's pretty trimmed down and he's now lean. Is that not implying he was overweight?
I mean, are you not just naturally going to be overweight if you've not been playing for a while and you can't get on the training pitch?
I mean, is Odebear going to be overweight when he comes? I don't know. Not always. I think you can keep yourself fit and not overweight even if you're injured. Sometimes you can. I think sometimes you can get overweight. It depends on the injury. But I don't know what his injury was. But I wonder if he's maybe been fitter than longer than we've thought. But
we've known he's been on the grass for a while, and they've just been really cautious with him.
Yeah, exactly. So I wonder, is it because he was overweight rather than he was still recovering from that injury?
I don't know. It's hard.
Because
I don't know if
he was giving weird updates before, wasn't he? Saying, Richarlison, I'll give you an update when there is one, kind of thing. He was wasn't kind of saying about or talking about. He didn't want to talk about his injury for a bit. As you say, there was stuff him on the grass for a while. When he picked up an injury, and then I don't know, they were saying he was going to be back, and then he kind of was being a bit vague about what was wrong with him in a way. He is saying now, obviously, that with Richarlison, they want to be cautious with him. Absolutely right. But I do wonder if maybe he recovered from an injury a bit. He said even 2 weeks ago that he's been injury free for more than 2 weeks. He said. So I do wonder if he's been injury free for longer than we thought. It's just a case of him being a bit overweight. I wonder.
Well, if that's what he's saying, got to take it at face value, I guess. But I don't really know. I don't know what to say on that, because Richarlison's never struck me as a guy who's ever been overweight or anything. He's always looked in good physical condition, hasn't he?
Most of the time, I guess.
So it's hard to say. It's hard to say and what to read into it. But if he's not keeping himself in good shape, it's obviously not a good sign. But it's just good to hear that he's back in peak physical condition. So hopefully we'll see the best of him now.
I just think him competing with Solanke is going to be something really good for our team. I think people underestimate or forget how good Richarlison can be a lot of the time. But I think he can be a figure of fun a lot of the time, especially because his first season got more yellow cards than goals, all that kind of stuff. But people forget how good he was at Everton. People forget last season when he went on that run, I think, 9 goals in 10 games, I think it was, during December time, where Sonny was out, I think, and he was just doing a great job for the team, really carrying us at times last season. So if we can get that Richarlison back, we're partner and have him competing with Solanke, I think that's people underestimate what a good couple of strikers we got there.
It's just good to finally have options. When's the last time we've actually had 2 proper number 9s? We haven't.
I mean, if you look around the Premier League, how many teams do have 2 proper number 9s? You got Villa, you've got Watkins and Duran.
Yeah.
Even City only have Haaland. Arsenal, they've got Havertz and Jesus. I mean, Jesus I don't really like, and Havertz is playing really well, but wasn't a number 9 when they signed him. I mean, Liverpool, they've really only got Núñez. They don't really have a natural number 9 there.
Jota plays there, though, doesn't he?
He plays there, but I don't know if you call him... He's not a proper number 9, I don't think. He can play striker. He's a bit like Son. Would you call him a number 9, but he can play there? You got...
I mean, last season you would have called him a proper number 9 at certain points in the season.
Same with Son or Jota?
Son.
Yeah, at certain points, but he's not a proper number 9, is he?
No.
You wouldn't call him a proper number 9. Same with Jota.
I think Jota can be I think he's good at the false 9 kind of position.
I'm not saying he can't play there, but he's would a team sign him to play number 9? Would you put big money on Jota to be on number 9? I don't know if you would. Who else?
What is his natural position, Jota?
Probably a left inside forward, I would say.
Left
probably his best.
forward.
That was where he's at his best for Wolves, I felt. Or
Arne Slot clearly favours him there over an actual number 9.
Well, we don't really have one because Nunes keeps missing chances, isn't he? Gakpo obviously play on the left. Anyway, Newcastle, Isaac and Wilson, but Wilson's obviously always injured, similar to Richarlison, I guess. But they got 2 strikers. But I'm just saying, there's not many teams in the Premier League where you've got 2 strikers as good as Solanke and Richarlison.
Well, if we if the history of Richarlison's Spurs career just keeps coming to light, then we've only got one as well. But we just need to keep him fit.
And I'm just saying, there's not many teams in the league where you could say they've got 2 strikers both as good as Richarlison and
Which was
Solanke.
back in the day. We used to have like 4,
Yeah.
3, 4. Like where have those days gone?
They're long gone.
Yeah, Phil P's true. I mean, it's what he says is right. There is a shortage of number 9s in football, not just in the Premier League.
And we got 2.
And it's like that kind of position is used to be, everyone wanted to be a striker, didn't they? Everyone wanted to be a number 9. Now everyone, I feel like, kind of wants to be a winger.
Well, that's where a lot of the goals come from now, is from the wing. But I think you are seeing a bit of a resurgence in the number 9. I think teams are wanting that a bit more now. Like you can see, as I say, like Havertz playing that role for Arsenal. Like he's become more of a traditional number 9 the way he's been playing. Obviously, you got Haaland now for City. They won the league without a striker, but they brought in Haaland, and now they've got a proper number 9 there.
Even Havertz isn't like a natural number 9, is he?
He's not, but he's developing into one the way
Yeah.
he plays. The way he plays, like he's much more. He's a very big presence up there. Very good aerially, good at hold up play.
Like Richarlison at Everton, he was playing more on the left wing than he was up front.
No, when he first signed, he was, but by the time he left, he was much more of a number 9.
Wasn't Calvert-Lewin playing there?
Yeah, but Richarlison was ahead of him a lot of the time. I think if you look at the overall, like I don't know how many seasons he was at Everton. I would predict like his first. I think he was there for like 3 seasons. Like his first season, he was predominantly on the left, and then his last 2 seasons, I think majority was up front.
See, I thought he was just predominantly on the. I thought he played more games on the left than he did up front for Everton.
Yeah, as I say, I think in the beginning he was, but by the
You're
time he
saying
left,
2 seasons up front and 1 season on the left. I thought he played more seasons.
No,
on the left.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying first season predominantly on the left, and I'm saying he played probably in his last 2 seasons played more up front than on the left. I'm not saying he only played up front,
Right.
but I'm saying he played more up front than on the left.
Got a few super chats here. One from Phil P saying, "Big up to my nephew Fred, birthday and coming to the lane." And actually, another birthday today. Do
Yes.
you want to just bring up the thing? Another birthday today, which actually probably gives some good omens for this weekend, is Paul Stalteri.
Oh, I thought you were going to say.
Let me land, bro. Let me land.
Paul Stalteri. Yeah, that's the main birthday today. Paul Stalteri.
Paul Stalteri's birthday today, but that definitely brings big omens for today. But an even bigger and the biggest of biggest birthdays today is my grandpa Brian. So everyone, please show him that love in the comments section. It is Big Grandpa Brian's 88th birthday today.
Get the tweet up on your phone.
I'm not sure if he's watching, but if he is, he'd love to see all your comments come through. So please do. I'll bring up the tweet in a second.
We'll get back to the game in one second.
This is more important than the game. Here, go to the tweet. There we go. A massive happy birthday to the legend himself,
Happy birthday,
Mr. Grandpa Brian.
We are gonna see him a bit later on, me and Ben.
Look at these images. Look how happy he is walking into the stadium. There's my dad as well. There's me. Other picture.
Like the Beatles, that picture. Beatles or the In-Betweeners? Not sure which one. Lovely.
There's me, Sim, my uncle Adrian, and my grandpa at the celebrating one of the goals. And look at that.
What a picture
That's Palace
the
away.
away end. Look at that. Dancing away.
And that's the last one.
And there he goes. There's the picture. Oh, what a shirt. What a shirt. I love that shirt so much. It's my grandpa's favourite shirt. What a video. We need to watch that video again. I don't know what. It's probably on the channel somewhere.
There's 2 videos.
There's 2 videos.
There's one of him at Wembley.
Yeah.
When the Punjabi Spurs lot brought him into the middle. And there's another one at a birthday like a year or 2.
Oh, yeah.
Where we all do it in the house.
Need to sing that tonight. We've got a little birthday party for my grandpa tonight. So looking forward to that.
Let's just bring up one more super chat. If you could bring up the overlay. Dark Sun G says, really happy the break happened. Now Richie and Sonny are back. 100%, bro. 100%. It's so good to have options again. But I think it's time to get into this bingo game. 25 people with us. I'm going to click start in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's go.
Go you Spurs.
Freddie Canute.
Paul McVeigh.
Stephen Freund. Manor. Pedro Mendes.
Not for me, Ramon Vega. Foyth. Jägen the German. Dalmar. Yeah.
I'm not getting many players I need, man. This is not good.
Need 4. Okay. No, he didn't play there.
No. Mr. Player.
What? This is not good at all. It's not gone my way. What the hell? Fudge.
We've got 4 left with 8.
Yeah,
Cards.
it's not gone well for me. How many did I get wrong? 1, yeah. Tony Parks never played for Palace. I never got 1 PSG player. Unless Dalmat played for PSG.
We all got 39.
I love you boys. Got 15. Sean hasn't finished yet.
Shocking. Shocking. Let's see what we
Not
got.
a good round. Not been a good round. I'm still top though.
I didn't even get... I got Van der Vaart, Dutch, Longley, Villa, Huddleston played with Van der Vaart, Forster, Southampton, Lo Celso, Argentinian, Højbjerg, Denmark, Fernandez, Portuguese, Konchesky, Fulham, Zeki Friars, Palace, Razor Ruddock, Liverpool, Calderwood, Scottish, Freund, German, Dalmat played for Hoddle, and I didn't have a PSG or a French player
Sean
or a
45.
Burnley
bastard.
player. How was Shawnee?
I had Longley Villa, McVeigh Northern Irish, Porro Spanish, Højbjerg Dutch, Lo Celso Argentina, Jedson Fernandez Portuguese, Canute played with Redknapp, Zeki Friars for Man United, Dalmat, French, Freund, German, Huddleston played under Yole, Tony Parks didn't play for Palace, Gallas, Chelsea, and Calderwood for Forest.
Wow. All right, well, that is a bingo for today. And you know what? We're going to end off on a segment for my grandpa, an extra segment for my grandpa. If you bring up... Oh, you're still playing? Go on.
You're done, mate. You're done, Sammy.
We can't go on to this segment
Don't
because
act
Sammy's
like
not
you're going to win, Sammy.
Come on, Sammy. You came 10th. 9 points behind us. Not too bad. Yeah, just go on to the overlay. First and foremost, we have a super chat here from Tom Witten saying, a pint for Grandpa. Happy birthday. Up the effing Spurs. Big up to you, Tom Witten. And I'll be definitely showing my grandpa this a bit later. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the birthday messages. I'm going to read them all out and bring them all on the screen just so we can show my grandpa a bit later on tonight.
He'll love it.
So, first up, Ben Kaufman. Happy birthday, Grandpa.
Come on.
Rinkadink Sports Agenda. Happy birthday, Brian. What have we got?
Michelini. Oh, no. Ethan Talks FPL.
Ethan Talks FPL. Happy birthday, Brian. Tinker Hermanson. Happy birthday, B. Raider 275. Happy birthday, Grandpa Brian. Have a great day. Come on, you Spurs. Ben Kaufman. Proper Coys. Orez. Bring Grandpa on. I would love to, but I think he's enjoying his festivities at the moment. Timmel saying, Grandpa, limbs, come on, you Spurs. Is there any more here? Michelina lecture. Happy birthday to Mr. B. Where are we? Daniel Sandoval. Happy birthday. Come on, you Spurs.
Phil P.
Phil P. Happy GLC played.
No, happy birthday, Grandpa.
I don't see that one.
Here.
Oh, there we go. Phil P. Happy birthday, Grandpa.
Sean Slater.
Sean Slater. Happy birthday. Dad's Our Job podcast. Happy birthday, Brian, from One Hammer and Two Gooners.
Thank
Daniel
you.
Field. Happy birthday, Gramps. Come on, you Spurs. Here's one. Sahare. Happy birthday to Grandpa. Andreas Dimean. Happy birthday, Granddad. I commented on the first video of the channel with him.
Wow.
One of the OGs.
Proper OG, Andreas. Big up to you.
Jake Bloom. Happy birthday to Brian. Thummer Pavan saying, how old is Grandpa? He's 88 today.
Two fat ladies.
Philip Nordorf saying, happy birthday, Grandpa B from Sweden. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Philip.
Dragon D's is saying, happy birthday, Grandpa Brian. Edgar R saying, happy birthday, Grandpa Brian. Sean Slater saying, I'll donate my bingo win to Grandpa Brian. Send it in a super chat, Sean Slater.
Come on, Sean.
And that is all the birthday messages. So he's going to be absolutely delighted with that, guys. So I want to say a big thank you for showing your love today. We'll see you all tomorrow on match day. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.